Hey, Pit Crew, if you're new here, I'm Cooley. Welcome in. Today we're going to make, I've never made it before, barbecue baked beans with chorizo, 2 cans of bush baked beans, which we're going to drain. That's the chorizo. We're going to go with my Ghost all-purpose rub that I bought, an onion, and that's about it. Oh, bacon. I got some bacon I smoked off. Let me show you that. It's up in here. Hey, where it is. On the smoker. I might fry it up a little more. We'll fry that off a little bit. And then we'll do the chorizo, put the onions in. Stay tuned! Alright, so the one thing I forgot to tell you that we're going to add, barbecue sauce, whatever's cheap on sale, a little mustard to it. You're like, Cooley, why do you need mustard? Vinegar, it adds the acidity. That's why people put mustard. And here's what's crazy. I'm out of brown sugar. I forgot to tell you that. Is it the end of the world? No. Like, well, what could I do? You can put in milk. Now, remember, the barbecue sauce is sweet. The reason you add that brown sugar, it adds a little bit of like a caramely taste, a caramelization. You could put molasses. You could do honey, maple syrup. So it's not the end of the world. Now, one thing you'll find with me, like, don't take this stuff so serious, right? You're not competing. You just want it to taste good. So just kind of ebb and flow with what you have in the house. So I'm going to cut these down, right? I'm going to fry off. Now that bacon smoked, I'm going to crisp it a little more just because I like a little crisp bacon in the pan. And then we'll get that out. And then we're going to put this chorizo in. How much? Probably, because I'm only using 2 cans, and I've never made this before. Probably a half. Maybe half of the chorizo. But it's really not that hard. I'm excited. I think it's going to add a lot of depth of flavor. So we have our onions, right? We'll cut them down so there's not real big chunks. And then I'm going to put it on the smoker an hour to 3 hours, right? What's great about these beans is I already smoked that bacon off on the wood and the charcoal smoker. So it was on there for an hour. So even if you didn't have time to throw these back on a smoker, just by having that bacon on the smoker earlier when we were doing the pulled pork will add a lot depth of flavor. All right, so that's just kind of a rough chop. It's gonna soften when we cook. So let's do this. Let's go to the pan, throw in that bacon. Let me bring it out. We'll cut it up a little. You'll see what I did. I'm gonna turn the pan on medium. Look at this color. Check this out. See that color? Isn't that a beautiful little color? And so my thought is, see, it still needs to be cooked a little. And I was trying to save space in the smoker. So you could do that. So here's what we'll do. Let's move this onion over. Right? And just cut this up. I don't like overthink stuff. Pretty much the only way you can ruin stuff, if you over salt it, too much sodium, or over smoke it, right? But a lot of that depends on the wood choice. Now you can make this finer. I'll cut it down more chunks. Sometimes my girls don't like big chunks. I do. But texture, you can do what you want, right? So let me just run this through a couple. Speaking of my daughter, I took her off to college. My first one, my oldest. Man, was that tough. You young dads, I think I cried for a week or a few days until I knew she was doing better. Dropping kids off at school. She's going to ASU in the shithole in downtown Phoenix. That's delish. You worry about them. So let's do that. That bacon. Damn! Freaking good. I might even leave some out. Let's take the camera over. Remember, this is Cooley's Poor Man's Barbecue. We got to do stuff in real time. We don't have time for that high fancy editing. All right, look. Now this, I'm going to leave some on the side. This is not going to be need to cook too much. Can I just tell you, that smoke flavor, damn, that is so good when you smoke it off with the right woods and stuff and you know what you're doing. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. No. I don't have the tools. Look, you guys want to laugh? Look at this cute little spatula. This is how Cooley rolls. Like literally, I'm going to turn the heat up a little more. I use what I have. Did you guys see my like dollar store or Walmart spatula? It was $1 for my poker. That's how I move my stuff around. Seriously. Right? Like my whole idea with this channel is we're making the barbecue baked beans with chorizo is to show you that you can cook cheap. Like you don't need all the expensive equipment. It's the cook, not the cooker. Because in the old days, right, they didn't have, when the slaves were making their barbecue, all this fancy. I mean, I think they might have done some of it in the ground. So I try to show you real life stuff. I try to buy most of this from Walmart. And you're like, why, Cooley? Because most of you have access to Walmart, right? So that's what I'm trying to show. And once you start to kind of learn how things work together, you'll be amazed. And do I make mistakes still all the time? Yes. But I really love teaching, right? Like I love showing people that are nervous. Like it's not, and trust me, I've thrown out so much meat over the years, pounds and pounds. But then it's not that scary. So anyway, so I take the daughter down. Man, it's just, I went to college, but I didn't get to stay at the dorm. Like, what a lucky person. And the emotions, it's so hard. And, you know, and I was getting through some of the illnesses. And all I have left, but I didn't wait, was I got to clean this house. Let me get this house in order. And we can keep going deep with these videos. Because the funny thing, here in Arizona, I pretty much just barbecue, I don't know, almost 7 days a week, 5 days. Like, we'll eat a little junk, but you know what I mean? And the reason it is, besides that I like it, it's just too hot to turn the oven on. Like, I have the Traeger right now, the Easy Bake. That's going to cook these baked beans. And I've never made these chorizo baked beans before. And like I said, I don't have the brown sugar, but we're going to use, I don't know. You know what I might do? Maybe a little hot honey. What do you guys think about that? And this isn't going to go too long. I got the heat up pretty high. I just want to cook it a little longer. Bring it down a little. Well, that's kind of my thoughts. Let me finish this off. And then let's throw the chorizo in. Cook that down. And then we'll throw the onions in. And I'll show that to you. All right, this might be a smidge more than a half a thing of chorizo. There's my bacon. That didn't take too long. We're going to cook this down a little bit, right? And then we're going to add the onion. Let me show you a trick for cooking. If your pan's ever too hot, it's pretty simple, but when you don't cook, you don't think of these things because you're so stressed, right? Just move it off. You can move it off if you ever felt your pan was too hot and just cook on to the side, right? To get away from the heat. I've shown to you, they're like, I never thought of that. Like if you're new, you don't think about that. So let's go back to medium. And we're gonna cook this down. I don't know if that's enough. You know what? We're gonna do the whole tube. We're gonna do, now if I'm screw it up, I screw it up, but I tend to be a little compulsive. I just wanted to have flavor, right? So let's cook that down. And I've never made this before. I think it's gonna be delicious, right? Like everybody makes crazy. Have you heard of the apple pie baked beans? I think that's just gonna be a little too sweet. I don't know, maybe if you put chorizo in. So I will cook, just keep bringing this down, and I'll show you when it's almost done, because some people are like, well, what's it supposed to look like when it's cooked? Let me cook it down, I'll show you. I'll transfer it over to the bacon pot, little bacon plate, and then we'll do the onion. All right, it's almost done. Now it's still gonna cook longer on the smoker, but what happens is some of that grease renders out. You see how it gets a little hamburgery? It's not so smushy, right? Like you want it to get almost a little hamburgery, and then I'm about gonna transfer it over. You see that? And then there's still some grease, and don't worry, because you're still gonna. It doesn't have to be cooked perfect, because it's still gonna cook in the smoker. But maybe another minute or two, and then that leftover grease, I'll cook the onions in. And then we've got over here, and I'm just gonna scoop it in. The bacon's on top. We're just gonna go. I don't know. Let me see. Couple more minutes, but it's starting to get that little hamburgery consistency. That is what I want. All right, so I just shut off the stove, and I'm going to scoop this into here. I'm scooping the chorizo into our little bean pan. This is why I love these half sheets, you guys. You want to get these. I use them for everything. And then we're going to have a little left in the pan of that little bit of grease. I got most of the chorizo. I'll bring the camera over so you can kind of see. Turn this off. Is this off? Yep, let me show you with the camera. Okay. Little hamburgery looking, the bacon. We're going to throw the onions. Let's throw the onions in here. I have the pot. Here, let's move it. Remember I said it's still a little hot. Don't want it to burn. So just take it off the burner, right? And I'm going to throw these onions into the pan. Now, if there's a little bit of darkness or almost like burn, but not, it's fine. It's not going to ruin a lot of little smoky flavor like the roasted salsa, right? So I just transferred that over. Right, let's take my little spatula, give it a little run, move over to the heat. See how it's coating the onions? Man, these are going to be good. Let me turn this on to medium for a minute. I'll play the heat game. Turn it up, turn it down. Just depend what I got going on. Look at that color, though. Right, so now, coulis, do these have to be sauteed perfectly? No, it depends how long you're going to cook. Like if this is going on the smoker for 2-3 hours, these are going to soften up, right? Maybe an hour you do it more. Just how long are you thinking these are going to go on the smoker? I'll probably cook these a little more, saute them down because it's 440. I don't know that I'm going to do a 3-hour cook with these because that pork is in the oven. So let me render these down. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we're going to throw them with the beans. We'll throw the rest of the stuff in. Not too hard. Show you what I'm doing. And we'll cook it. And then you give it a try. I'll give it a try. I think because I don't have the brown sugar, we'll throw a little bit of the molasses. Yes, it's going to give some color. I don't really care about that. But maybe that little bit of that caramel taste. So I'm thinking this. Right? And this is the fun of cooking. Don't make it so serious. You screw up, you screw up. I have this, I don't know, my daughter said this is actually a hot honey, but it's melting. I got this in a barbecue box, hot honey. So maybe we'll use this, or I'll save this and use the cheaper stuff. Mike's hot honey, because it's going in the beans, right? Save this for something that's a little better, that I want the better taste. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then we'll come back and I'll show you. Let's give these a stir. Right, just play with this. If you make it too serious, it's not going to be fun. Right? Just have fun. All right, these have rendered down enough. There's still a little bit of crunch to them. But remember, I know they're going to soften. So let's just take this, right? And I'm going to dump these in over the top. Just throw them in there. Doesn't matter. No, you're gonna stir all this up, so it's fine. Don't be weird, right? Just have fun. All right. Mm. Now to taste them. Let's take these. I just want you to see. Sorry, onion got me in the better lighting. Right, let me show you. All right, so you see the onions, chorizo, bacon. That's what we got so far. Do I have anything over here? Yep. So let's do this. Let's throw in a little of this molasses. I have no idea. That's enough. Just a little. Stuff is strong. Now we're going to use mustard, right? The mustard is for the acidity. That's why, if you don't know, why people put that in. All right. The rub, I like this. You guys try. This is a good popcorn. I'm addicted to this. Popcorn. No affiliation. Okay, this is the savory. Why do you put the rub in? Because it's sweet. You're trying to balance out the savory with the sweet, right? Because when you cook for people, with your family, you can do whatever you want. But if you cook for people, you want to try to balance. And we're going to put barbecue sauce. Hot honey, just because we can. Right? Good. Do I know if that's going to do anything? No. And then we're going to put in whatever barbecue sauce. I've got Masterpiece. We'll throw in some You want it to be a little saucy, right? So let's throw in some Masterpiece. I'm going to stir this. And it's going to go on the smoker. I've seen some guys use 2 bottles of barbecue sauce. I guess that's kind of up to you. And remember, there's some molasses, I think, in the KC Masterpiece. We'll have that dark. So that is it. I'm going to stir this, and then we're going to throw this on the smoker for at least an hour. What's great about these beans in general, right? I've never had these ones before, is that they can be ready when you're ready. Hour to 3 hours, right? I mean, you could probably go 4, but it's an easy side to do once it's on the smoker, because it doesn't have to be exact, right? The longer it's on, the more smoke it's going to get. And these will also loosen up, right? They're going to get thinner as they cook down on the barbecue, on the smoker. And actually, I'm using the Traeger in this, like an easy bake oven, for real. So let me finish stirring these. We'll put them on the smoker, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, we are 1 hour in on the baked beans. Let's check them. Let's see. Ooh, let's stir them. You see that little bit of crusty color they're getting, that little bit of texture? That's from, now you could take these off, right? Remember I said it depends on your day. I might leave them 1 more hour, but boy, do they look good. So you can either take them off in an hour, serve them like this, keep them in a crock pot, right, if you want to keep them warm, or go another hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, right? It kind of just depends on you. So we'll probably go another hour, and we will call it. I appreciate you guys being here. Let me taste this sauce. Okay, one more. Hold on. Ooh, I like the spiciness. They need to be a little warmer. But very good. I'm picking up the chorizo spiciness. Very good. Good flavors. It needs to go longer though, right? Because I had it at 275. But delish. All right. Be the 1% of the 1%. stay badass, and I'll see you on the next one.